Let's talk about Wan Hu. 3, 2, 1. Let's get into rocket science for a moment. During the space race in the space age, we had Laika, the first living creature in space, Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space, Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. For quite some time, humans have been fascinated by the idea of reaching the stars. Space travel stories were told in ancient Babylon and India. In ancient Greece, a good old friend of Plato, Archytas, produced one of the oldest known rocket launches. A cheerful crowd saw a wooden pigeon, launched with steam power, successfully fly away up to the sky. Back in the days of Genghis Khan, the Chinese also experimented with rockets. However, not in front of a cheerful crowd, but more like in front of a Mongol army. Somewhere in the scorching Gobi Desert around the late Middle Ages, one man was determined to become the first spaceman in history. Chinese official and poet Wan Hu strapped himself to a snake-like bamboo chair with 47 rockets attached to it. In his hands he held a kite that was not only going to navigate him through the atmosphere, but also that was going to be used as a parachute for the touchdown. As soon as the rockets were lit, a big explosion happened and the chair flew into the air. Legend says some remaining rockets exploded afterwards and destroyed both the chair and Wan Hu himself. His servants witnessed a giant ball of fire up in the sky and probably covered their heads from falling pieces. Wan Hu, which is Chinese for something like crazy fox, was no more. Around the same time Wan Hu was detonating himself to the great hereafter, a German artillery master, Franz Helm, came up with some creative ideas for rockets, such as a cat being strapped to a rocket pack. For the next 300 years, animals unfortunately became a crucial part of rocket testing. Men like Roger Bacon, who invented gunpowder like the Chinese did, Jean Froissart, who came up with the idea of igniting rockets with tubes, Conrad Haas, who sketched out plans for multi-stage rockets as well as the shape of the rocket, are all examples of early Western Europe rocket science. Like the dual-stage rocket technology by the 16th century German fireworks maker Johann Schmidlapp, which was the basis for technology used to launch the American-Soviet space race some 350 years later. But a modern rocket wouldn't go anywhere if it wasn't for Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion. The famous German-American rocket scientist Wernher von Braun was very much inspired by the story of Wan Hu. Nowadays, a crater on the moon is named after the would-be astronaut.